Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce presents the Bowie Business Journal, a program designed to keep our community informed about important business and economic issues.
Welcome to Bowie Business Journal. I'm Cindy Freeland, host and co-producer. Lessons and Insights is a new offering this year by the Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce. Each month, a local business is showcased. We get the opportunity to hear firsthand from the owners the stories of how their companies got started and any pitfalls or obstacles they had to overcome. These events are geared towards new and prospective business owners, yet make great human interest stories for the community in general. This month, we showcase Belair Engineering with Debbie and Don Risher. Enjoy.
Welcome to Belair Engineering. We have been in Bowie since 1962, and it was my dad's company. And I grew up in Bowie, and I lived on Belair Drive. My dad saw the need for gutters and humidifiers to be put in when he was working at NSA, and he was a government worker, and he was looking for, they came here, they moved here to a rancher, and there were no gutters and no humidifiers, and my grandfather said, you ought to, if I make the sheet metal, you guys could install the gutters on all the different houses. And he said, well, that sounds good, let's try our house first. So they did our home first, and then they put the humidifier in. Everybody came by and said, wow, you know, how come you have gutters and I don't? And he said, well, you know, my father-in-law made the sheet metal, and that's how Belair Engineering got started. It got started at our house, and my mom did the books, and my dad would work all day as a government worker and then come home and work all night doing that kind of stuff out of the garage. And then when it got a little bit too big, he moved to a garage on, it was like a gas station garage where Bob Evans is in Bowie, and it was a teeny tiny little place, and he had one secretary. Her name was Laura Marie Forbes, who used to complain all the time because of all things he didn't have air conditioning in there. So he needed air conditioning in there. Actually, that's a pretty funny story. Her husband came and said, my wife comes home every day and she's very hot, and you need to do something about it. Her husband came to the office and complained to my dad and said it was under poor working conditions. So he put air conditioning in there for her, a little window shaker. So I guess that started our air conditioning company. And down the road, you saw different needs, and as the needs came, he filled the needs, and a lot of them were for gadgets and gadgets, you know, like for the drawers in the kitchen, or the cabinets, and you know, all that kind of stuff that Levitt had. And when Levitt left, he sold all that to my dad, and so he had quite a bit of stock left over. He started a hardware store, a little tiny hardware store, then ended up in Collington Plaza with a huge hardware store. And they probably had, I think, over 20,000. I think one was 10, I think one was probably 15 and the other was 5,000 square feet. One was a main hardware store in the back, and one was a garden center on the left-hand side. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, this was. That's actually where I met Debbie as a contractor. One of the people that one of her coworkers introduced us, and that's how Debbie and I first met as well. But yeah, Bob Herring, Debbie's dad, was a very dynamic individual and also a heck of a cook. And his wife Barbara, I'm blessed with the wonderful in-laws, which is. Nothing to sneeze at.
Well, Don and I met at the hardware store, but he's got his version of the story and I've got mine, but I won't tell that on TV. But, you know, isn't that how kind of it always is, you know. But we did meet at the hardware store. I worked in the hardware store, and I worked in the reception area for it, because we used to be open till 9 o'clock at night forever, since I was 12 or 13. And then my dad decided to retire in 1991. By that time, Lowe's had come in, and there was no need for a hardware store anymore. And, you know, all the big boxes took up all what we were selling, we weren't selling anymore. And the demand wasn't there. So he moved, I moved it to a smaller space, and Don and I packed that store. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was bittersweet.
We were there every night. Oh my gosh, easy till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And then working the whole next day, and then would come and stay up, and oh, it was horrible. Thank God we were young, but it was quite a move. We moved from there, from 20,000 square feet to a little building on 8 Crane Highway, and
right by GE Frisco.
Right, severely downsized. And my dad had heating and air conditioning, fencing, the hardware store, the houseware store, and appliance service contracts. And at one time we probably had, I don't know, easy 20,000, maybe 25,000 service contracts. Yeah, a lot. And you have to remember, all of Bowie wasn't even finished being built then. I don't think Northview was built then. So, or at the end, but it was a long time ago, 1962 when they started. So this is our 50th year. So anyway, so we moved there and scaled back, did fencing for a little bit. That had a downturn with the builders. Then we ended up looking for more space. The economy got better. You know, that good boost that we had, not the past couple of years, but you know, the good boost. And we moved to over here.
15883.
This court, 15853.
853.
And then it was just one of these buildings, and then we didn't have enough space there, so we moved over here. And now what we do is we do heating, air conditioning, gas fireplaces, generators, and plumbing. We do light plumbing. We don't do sewer lines or anything like that. We do household plumbing. You know, when you have a problem after Thanksgiving. Do a lot of work the day after Thanksgiving.
A lot of hot water heaters as well.
A lot of hot water heaters. Yeah. And I will tell you, I can tell you that right now, and some people who came here even tonight told me they had an original service contract and they might have an original unit. There are still original units out there from Levitt. There are still original hot water heaters. I know that I look at the tickets every day. I think I see hot water heaters 25, 27 years old. It's crazy. You think, you know, they made them so good back then. They lasted a really long time. So.
Yeah, most people never put their hot water heater in before it fails. It's usually an after-the-fact type of purchase, but that's the nature of the beast, and we deal with an emergency situation and come right out and switch it out and take the old tank.
That's not the way you want to deal with it, though. You want to deal with it before it happens, because if you don't deal with it before it happens, and we've been trying to catch that on our tickets now, on our customers' tickets, because if you don't, you come home to a home of flooded water, and your carpet's messed up, you have an insurance claim, you might have wood floors, or your tiles messed up. It's really a mess. So that's why we started working on that, because we had so many people who were so upset.
Yeah, something about the Bowie homes that's kind of unique is we have to do what they call a flue upgrade when we do a hot water heater replacement, as well as an expansion tank to stop that water hammering. These are a few codes that we install to and pull all the permits and stand all the inspections, which is quite a process, I might add, as far as getting things through inspections and permits. But it's good to have third-party verifications.
So, I guess I could backtrack a little bit. So this is a chamber event. This is a chamber TV show, a Greater Bowie Chamber of Commerce, and Prince George's County, not PG County, right? Back in the day, we could say that, but we can't say that anymore. So I was president of the chamber in 1995 and 96, kind of half in 95 or. It was a 2-year when there wasn't a 2-year term, but that was okay because I really enjoyed it. I loved it. And we've always, we're a charter member of the chamber. We've always enjoyed all the chamber events. I think all of our all of our best friends are in the chamber, and actually all the people that we do business with, you know, all the people we do business with, we make sure that they're a chamber member before we do business with them. And I think that's how it should be. I think, you know.
Yeah, people that
help
go
each
to the
other.
chamber are usually people. You know, and they want to connect with the other people in business.
True.
It was nice that you were president, because I've heard a lot of people say that you're one of the best presidents, and
I was.
I'm
was
biased,
one of the best
but I've heard this from many people that said she was a wonderful president.
Well,
I agree.
you know, I like that. I really enjoyed being president of the chamber. I was also president of Air Conditioning Contractors of America National Capital Chapter, which is heating and air conditioning contractors in Maryland, Virginia, and D.C. And I was the first woman president in 44 years, so that was challenging. I was on that board for a long time because we had 2-year terms for each position, and you move up, you know, from the board member to secretary to treasurer to, you know, first vice president, and then president. So it's a long time before you get there, but by the time you get there, then you know what you're doing. And it's another great group that you should definitely, you know, be involved with, like people in your industry. You definitely want to be in a trade association that has something to do with that, because the networking sometimes is just as good, if not better, than the training. The training is always good. Networking, you're talking peer-to-peer with people who have the same problems, and they help you get through the problems, and they, you know, they'll cut your time and your worry in half. So that's really important.
Yeah, for Debbie to be voted in by all men as the first female president of the Air Conditioning Contractors of America was, in their 44 history, like she said, was very impressive. You know, I always say she's just not a pretty face, but she's the real deal.
Well, that's nice, huh? But we're real involved with the community. Always, if you haven't heard of us, if you're new to the community, you know, please stop by, because we have little Debbie dollars right now. I don't know where they are right now. I'm looking to see if there's any on the table or anything. They're $50 for our 50th anniversary this year. So I'll make sure that everybody here gets one before they go. And if you've already used it, you can't use it again, but you can give it to one of your friends who might need it for whatever they need. You know, for a service call, hot water heater, new system, generator, gas fireplace, whatever you need it for, you can use it for. Towards your service contract, whatever you want. But we need to give back, you know, to the community who has really, really been good to us, which is what Bowie has been. Bowie's always been good to us. I mean, you know, that is, I would say, Bowie and Crofton are 99%, probably 95% of our, yeah, 95% of our base. We also do a lot of work in Annapolis, Davidsonville,
Edgewater,
Prince George's County,
and South Maryland.
right?
Dunkirk.
Southern Maryland, we're hitting a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're real appreciative to Bowie and to Crofton for everything that they've done for us, because obviously you don't make it 50 years if you don't have good customers, right? You just can't do that. It goes both ways, so you have to, a lot of give and take. We had a lot of give and take this year. We had, in October, we had that big storm
Hurricane Irene.
with the generators. We had a few challenges there.
Yeah.
As Oprah says, when you know better, you do better. That's the truth. When you know better, you do better. We had some issues, mostly permitting. With our county, our county is a challenge to permitting, and some weeks they changed it weekly. So I can only hope the county exec is watching this, and he'll call me and say, "What can I do to make it better for you, Debbie?" Because I would love that. The permitting was a huge problem in both counties. It's some of our fault, because until you have a natural catastrophe like that, not as many people want generators. There was of course, the whole East Coast got hit, so Generac had a national back order thing for what, 4 months.
Yeah.
So, you know, for us to get it in took a long time. People were thinking we were going to get hit by another hurricane. You know, it was just.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. You know, you go from 0 to 100 in the
Yeah.
generator business, and oftentimes you just can't stop out and slap one in. You have to upgrade the gas meter to facilitate the extra gas requirements of this big generator, and you have to pull permits and stand inspections. And this is a week-long process of touches. It's quite and people have to ramp up, the manufacturers, the contractors, the inspectors. It's quite a process. It's not overnight, you know.
It threw everybody for a loop. It wasn't just us, it was the inspection people. They had no idea what they were doing. You know, not that they had no idea what they were doing, they had no idea that the influx would be like that.
Such a personnel.
Nor did we. We didn't think it was going to be that heavy. It was only one storm. But everybody, we were out for a week. You know, I mean, and in places like down on the water in Deal, they weren't out for a week, but we were out for a week in Crofton. I know places in Bowie, you know, up in Marlboro sometimes goes out once a week, but we don't know it because we're here, and we don't see that. So there's a lot of need for that, and there were definitely a lot of challenges. Definitely a lot of challenges.
But what doesn't kill you make you stronger, and we're some generator installing sons of guns now.
We are, and they'll probably change all the procedures by the time they have the next hurricane, which was the biggest issue. You know, I think that they went through that last hurricane cycle, and they said, oh man, we can't do that again, so we're going to do this, this, and this, and I think, it was hard.
Yeah, we like people to stop out at our showroom because we have generators on display as well as the gas fireplaces and the equipment as well, and it's much easier to kind of touch and see and explain things to people when it's actually in front of them. I'm a visual myself, and I'd much rather take a look and actually see what's happening.
Other places you might want to come see us, Bowie Fest. We're always at Bowie Fest. We have booth 1 and 2 every year for forever. I can't even think. I can remember my daughter's graduating this year from college, our daughter. And I was hugely pregnant there 1 year without air conditioning, okay? So that was a long time ago. You figure she's 18, so it was that was a big deal. In a red polka dot dress. Big.
Yeah, we do National Night Out too, and it's always hotter than Blue Blazes on National Night Out for some odd reason.
It is.
I feel sorry for the Spider-Man guy in the Spider-Man costume. He must just be hot as.
Night Out for Crime. We just did did the Green Expo.
Green Expo as well.
That was a great event too. A lot of good Bowie events. Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm just going to throw a shameless plug in for the mayor. I think he's doing a heck of a job. You know, I'm sure I'll get raked over the coals, but I think Mayor Robinson is doing a heck of a job, and I like to see. I think County Executive Baker is a breath of fresh air too. I mean, it's just I can't even vote in Prince George's County, so I mean, it's like, but I see it.
Well, yeah, we're thankful for our city and our county because we, obviously that is our base, and if we didn't have a good city in a county, we'd be in big trouble. We really would be in big trouble.
Yeah, we live in Crofton, and I would love to see Crofton become a city like Bowie, because I see Bowie really flowering and good things. The police department and other aspects, the health center and everything else. It's good stuff.
Another reason why we love being in Bowie so much is the Bowie Senior Grant Program. If you're not aware of the Bowie Senior Grant Program, you should. I would imagine it's on the City of Bowie website, and the contact for the program is George Jones. We've done a lot of systems through the program, and it's my understanding that it is just totally that. It's a grant, and you have qualifications that you have to have, I think, age and financial, and what needs to be done to your home. It can be heating and air, windows, insulation, I think, and I'm not sure on the other things. I just know about our things. Can't be a generator. That's not a full need thing. I don't think so, but maybe you could ask them. I definitely can be heating and air, and we've done a lot of that. Heating, air, hot water heater, the things that you need to survive.
Yeah, so I guess a gas fireplace doesn't work.
I don't know. It keeps us warm.
It's a romantic source of heat.
It's a romantic source of heat. Speaking of romance type things, what do you like to do in your free time, Don?
Chase you around the house.
You can't say that on TV. That's not true. What do you really like to do, Don?
For many years, I've been on the Maryland State Athletic Commission, and I'm a judge, a professional judge for boxing and MMA. you know, I always joke that I like to watch people fight, and Debbie likes to help people. You know, it's like we're polar opposites. You know, but she's the people person, and I'm the quiet one. But anyway, no, I've been on the boxing commission. I enjoy that. I've been. It's a great state to work in. Pat Pinella is the executive director. Does a heck of a job at the Department of License and Labor and Regulation. But anyway. I like to walk in the woods for exercise and read books. Tremendous. I don't watch much TV.
He reads a book a week.
Yeah.
And he's being modest about that. They call him Dependable Don. Dependable Don Risher. They even say it on TV. If you watch him on boxing, if you watch boxing, you'll see it on ESPN or what's the other? Yeah, ESPN. I guess what it's on. USA. I don't know. Whatever it's on. HBO. Whatever they're on. You'll see Don on there. They'll say his name, and they say, and in this corner we have Dependable Don Risher.
Yeah, they tried to label me with a moniker of Dirty Don, and I just didn't think I qualified, so I offered up my own one because I was the timekeeper, so I figured I'm Dependable Don. You know, the time is going to be 3 minutes a round or 5 minutes in MMA. But MMA is quite a sport. It just got approved in Maryland, and I've done a lot of amateur as well as professional MMA, which is very exciting. And what do you like to do, Miss Debbie?
Well, I like to do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of recreational stuff with Lauren, our daughter, but now she's going to go to college, so I don't know what I'm going to do. She did ice skating. She's an ice skater. We made her pick a sport, and she was, I guess, probably 11. It was horseback riding and ice skating, and so she picked ice skating. And we started at Bowie with just, you know, like a week of camp, summer camp. And summer camp is hard to come by, but you know, now it's no big deal. Back then, it was a big deal to find some place for your kid to go every week and then drive around like crazy to get them there. But she did the week of camp, and then the teacher came up and she said she's really good, and I said, well, how good is she? And she said, well, I can teach her. And I'm thinking, you know, but she was 18 and she was young, and she was also lived down the street from us, but we had no idea at the time. Anyways, her name is Lindsay Wenger, and she ended up teaching her for a long time. She was her coach, and she still does ice skating. You know, I think she was 5 or 6 when she started that. And we ended up over at Piney Orchard because we live in Crofton. We live in Crofton because my husband grew up there. That's why I didn't abandon Bowie. A lot of people say, oh, she moved to Crofton. No, it's not that. I didn't abandon Bowie. I moved because we live in his parents' home. This man has never moved from his home. So
yeah, it was a lackluster settlement.
Yeah, it was pretty boring. It's our mother-in-law we pay, right? So, anyways, so our rink was Piney Orchard Figure Skating. I was president of Piney Orchard Figure Skating team for 8 years, and last year was my last year. I wanted this year to be able to do whatever I wanted to do with Lauren, but I stayed on the board as vice president because we didn't quite fill the board, and because I couldn't really let go with that rein yet, you know, that's kind of tough. But I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot. So we went all over the place: Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania. Oh, we took the girls to Florida one time, and we won. We put a team together in 6 weeks, and I never thought that I really didn't think, you know, I thought we're just going down there because it's one girl's a senior, and, you know, and it's Worlds, and, you know, we want to experience Worlds. We happened to stay at the hotel that all the lead people, all the Olympic skaters were at, because they were having their convention there. And they were all in their bathing suits outside with the girls, you know. And there were teenagers, you know, so it was really pretty fun. It was a lot of fun.
I was at home with my nose to the grindstone.
Yeah. Don had to work, yeah. But that was a good time. So I did that for a long time. I love to garden. It's my therapy. If I didn't garden, we'd spend a lot of money in therapy. It's hard. It's hard being a customer-based business. It's hard because you want to help everybody and you want to get there 5 minutes before you could, and especially with extreme weather. So I would just say to everybody, please have your unit serviced, before it gets hot, and really think about that and pull out whatever ticket, whoever you have it serviced by, have it serviced ahead of time. And remember that it's, I know Don's gonna go over this a little bit, but it's just like preventative maintenance on your car. I mean, you can't not do it. I mean, you have to have it serviced. We go into some people's houses, and not our old customers, it would never be them, but, you know, there's like rugs on their filters. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to change that. You know, they're busy. Let us do that for you. You don't have to do it, you just call us. What's important is you want all the airflow, you want everything working right, because everything's really expensive. Your gas bill's high, your electric bill's high, that'll come down if everything's running at a tip-top condition, so. We also have service contracts. We have a lot of service contracts. Certainly not as many as my father did. They had appliance service contracts then too. But we have a lot of service contracts, and we're very thankful for that. What that gets you is up the ladder. So if you call in and you do have a service contract, and you call in and you don't have a service contract, this person is going to get served before this person's going to get served. That's what that's about. And it's only fair. You know, they're paying money up front, and they should get service. And that's regardless if it's a maintenance contract or if it's a full coverage contract. Either way, if you're dedicated to us, we're dedicated to you. And the guys know that. They go there first. But definitely you want to do something before it gets hot.
Yeah, everybody calls us when their stuff breaks down, and it's much more prudent to try to take some affirmative action and fix it before it needs serious fixing. I'll talk about that a little later, but one thing I wanted to show everybody, I don't know if you can get this here, if you can zero in. This is our 50th year, and this is a Debbie Dollars. If you stop in the showroom, we'll give you one of these. This is $50 off of any of our services, and that's Debbie on where.
Or if you see us, come see us at Bowie Fast, or any place where we're out.
Ask for some Debbie Dollars.
Or call us, we'll mail it.
Also on the back, we got Lizzie, the Wonder Dog. She's Tails.
Liz, if anything happens to Lizzie, we're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's 9 and just had her 9th birthday, May 7th. They had a little birthday party for her here. Lizzie comes to work. She's very spoiled, but she's only 4 pounds, and she's a Yorkie, and she's special, just like our kid.
Yeah, she'll make an appearance here before the end of the program.
Oh, she will?
Yeah, just for good luck. You can come into the showroom and rub her belly too if you want.
She does like that. That's her big thing. She rolls over. Other things that I'm interested in, I'm on the board for BB&T. If you're a new business person and you need help from the county, there's lots of help from the county, from the state, from, you know, you should get, there's help from the Chambers. Chambers still does SCORE. Yeah. That used to be, you know, nobody knew what that was about. That's more popular now. People do know what it's about. But that's business help, where they come and they'll meet with you and they'll counsel you and help you, you know, get into whatever kind of help, you know, guide you in the right direction kind of idea. I've done a lot of stuff in the community. I was on the board for the Bowie Therapeutic Nursery. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that because I love kids. I love lots of kids.
We did that Allen Pond
yes,
Park.
Long ago.
Opportunity Park.
That's really
handicapped
aging
children.
me. I don't think we were even married. Yeah, I did Mary Johnson, Betsy, Burien, myself.
Christmas in April, right?
Yeah, I was on the board for Christmas in April. Yeah, we did Opportunity Park is at Allen Pond, and they're getting ready to redo it. I think they just got a grant to redo it or something. I saw in the paper. There's a lot of work in not just our field, but electrical, any of the trade fields. If your kid's really good with his hands, let him, or she is, let them do what they want to do. Don't make them go to college. You know, don't waste your money. That's what I would say. Yeah. Why waste your money? We got a lot of people from the trade groups when they had them, like the VOTEC that was all over at Tall Oaks. I know that South River started back up. I don't know that Prince George's County has it started back up, but I would like to see that. So we're also very involved. We have an apprenticeship program through ACA NCC that I was president of. They have an apprenticeship program, but it's up in Montgomery County. So I would love to see Prince George's Community College come back with something like that where they did before.
I'm going to talk about some AC issues or concerns that I would want the customers to kind of understand. This is your outdoor unit. During the air conditioning cycle, what happens is this is above your furnace. This is your inside coil. This is your outside coil. This one here, you never see this because this is encased above your furnace. What happens when the air blows over this, it pulls the heat out of the air that's going over it. So, and what it does is when it pulls that heat, it goes into these refrigerant lines and then comes out here and is expelled as heat into a less desirable. So it's taking the heat from inside the home and expelling it out through this outside condenser here. One of the keys is keeping this really, really clean, because just a little bit of dust in here can act like a blanket. And what essentially we're doing is heat transfers, and if you have a blanket, it's kind of hard to get rid of that heat. So it's really imperative to keep these clean and the furnace filter clean, and as well as here to rinse these fins down so it can reject the heat much more efficiently. What happens with that is it keeps the refrigerant much cooler, it keeps the components, the motors, the compressors much cooler, because once they start to heat up, then they tend to die more quickly. Every manufacturer suggests that you have a tune-up done on your equipment every year, an AC tune-up and then a fall tune-up. Every manufacturer recommends that in their installation manuals, and I recommend that as well. We clean the debris out, put protective coatings over this. We even have locking caps that we're putting on to stop people from endangering themselves by huffing refrigerant or anything like that. And another thing, by the way, the older units, the R22 refrigerant is skyrocketing in cost. It's just amazing. It's like $400 for a jug now. It used to be what, $118 a jug. Now it's $400 a jug. It's crazy. The new refrigerant is what we're using. I talked about before. We were kind of on the bandwagon about 8 or 9 years ago with this chlorine-free, environmentally friendly refrigerant, R410, or Puron as they call it. It's wonderful stuff. One of the differences is that this uses just old oil like regular car oil. The newer units are using a synthetic oil, and that synthetic oil really helps transfer that heat much more effectively. As far as the AC, once again, as far as the refrigerant levels are concerned, you want to make sure that they're topped off exactly where they should be, because this uses maybe between 8 and 12 pounds of refrigerant total. If you're just a ½ pound low on refrigerant, it can make a tremendous effect on how much money you're spending to cool your home and how cool your home will be, especially when it's really, really hot out and you're really depending on the system. One thing I will say, if it's really, really hot out, you might want to just go out and take a hose and just gently put it over these coils. That kind of gives it a little boost. Don't do it too often, but on hot days that can really make an effect. Little tip there. As far as the furnaces are concerned here, this is a 96% furnace. 96% of the heat is coming into the home. Natural gas, which most of the Bowie homes are running, you're probably looking at probably around 70 cents an hour to burn full blast natural gas. This one here is Carrier, 96% of it. The furnace is so efficient, you can use just plastic PVC pipe for venting, because all the heat is going into the home. This is where that coil is here. There's a smaller coil in here, same thing. We also have UV lights here. And that's an interesting, a lot of people don't realize that the UV lights, they would come up here and they would bathe these coils with light, because once they're in there and they're encased, they're never seeing the light of day till we rip them out and put a new one in. So this really keeps these coils nice and clean, a tremendous difference. All government buildings now mandate that you have UV light sanitation installed with the system. Over here, this is an air cleaner here. This is a top-of-the-line air cleaner. Once again, it's a Carrier Infinity. It's got what they call capture and kill technology. This will even filter out anthrax spores, and once again, what it's really doing is keeping this coil nice and clean, as well as the air that you're breathing. Some of the older units have a furnace, a furnace blower the old units, it all came on and it all came off. It was 0 to 60. There was no in between. These new furnaces ramp up and ramp down, so you got many different speeds. And what that affords you, first of all, is extra humidity removal, making you a lot more comfortable in your home. Also, it helps mix the air throughout your home, whereas before it was all on or all off. Now it's constantly mixing. It makes sense really to have a good air filter with a new system because you're going to be moving that air anyway. You might as well be cleaning it as well. This is your humidifier up here. If you have a gas furnace, the air that's coming out of your registers can be like 9 to 16% humidity. The desert is 24% humidity, so if you're 9 to 16 and the desert's 24, you really need a humidifier badly. This is a power vent humidifier. There's also different kinds, and oftentimes your specific situation at your home will dictate the kind of humidifier that will be used. Those are some indoor enhancement products that I really recommend for your comfort systems, and but definitely get the maintenance done on them as well. And if there is a need for a new system, give us a call. We have system engineers who stop that.
What about the bunny? Does the bunny go with it?
Yes, this bunny here, it is our spring ensemble here, but she hasn't bitten anybody yet. The EPA has mandated the limited production of it to kind of help phase it out. And the limited production has made it supply and demand once again. So the old refrigerant, they're really trying to wean that out of the cooling in the United States, so it's skyrocketed in price. This coil, once again, these all can leak in these thousands and thousands of places, and these things are prone to leak. So once again, when these leak out, you can't just do a quick fix sometimes and everything's good to go. I just wanted to show people the complexity of this because you don't really see this ever in your home. One other thing too is really a good idea to have a good relationship with your contractor because when you need a heating and air conditioning contractor, it's going to be really, really hot out or really, really cold. Rarely do people have super big problems when it's 75 and sunny out. And that's what I wanted to convey as well. Tell you what, come on back, I'll show you our gas fireplace showroom. And help yourself to the refreshments if you'd like. Nice. These are a couple of vented gas logs. We put these in brick fireplaces, zero clearance fireplaces. If you have vinyl siding or aluminum siding on it, you would have the zero clearance. We could put these in either or brick fireplaces or zero clearance fireplaces. One thing that is kind of new this year, or is being enforced, I should say, is the need for what they call a level 2 inspection. After the earthquake that we had here, it's in the codes that anytime you have a seismic event, you need your fireplaces to be re-inspected, and you also need them re-inspected when you're changing from a fuel source from like wood, solid fuel, to gas. Is also, you have to do a level 2 inspection. We have a chimney sweep company that performs it, and they do a wonderful job, and we had to go through hoops to find a really solid chimney sweep contractor that we partnered up with to do our cleanings and our level 2 inspections and any repairs that might need to be made. These are 24-inch vented gas logs. These are more of a decorative than a heat producer. These are using the air that you've paid your furnace to heat and sending it up the chimney. An insert like this, it actually has glass, and this, actually I'll fire this up, you can actually see this one as well. This one, because it has the glass, it uses outside air for combustion, and because it uses outside air for combustion, it brings heat into the home, whereas a gas log, so I can reach in and touch these logs, the air is going up, the heat and the air that you paid is going up the chimney. More of an aesthetic as opposed to an insert here. One thing that we don't do is we don't sell vent-free products. Even though they're legal in Maryland, we refuse to sell anything vent-free, and here's the reason why. Anytime you burn a hydrocarbon, you're getting water vapor. You know, the hydro is the hydrogen that's in the molecules. They break off and bond with the oxygen in the air, and then you get this water vapor with vent-free anything. This water vapor is extremely acidic, as you can see here. It will dissolve metal. I don't know how anybody could ever want to breathe water vapor that can dissolve metal. I won't subject my customers to it. And I hate to say no to a revenue stream, but this is just bad stuff. We use three kinds of gas pipe, and we use a hard pipe on the outside of your home here. So if it's going to be on the outside, we can paint it to match the side of your home. This is a galvanized stainless steel that we also use through attics and crawl spaces and drop ceilings, and we also use the stuff that's lightning resistant as well on that. This is a standard copper that we use for propane. We do a fair amount of propane, not so much in Bowie, but in the surrounding areas. This is the insert once again. This insert has all the controls on the transmitter here. It's got a light in the back here. I'll turn the light on. You can see the light go on. This has all the controls: the fan speed, the flame height, the simple on-off, the thermostat remote can all be accomplished via this transmitter. These also need to be serviced yearly as well. To burn these, you're looking at around 75 cents an hour. These are about 80% efficiency, so for every dollar that you spend, you're getting 80 cents as heat. It's also a, they also really, like I said, if it has a blower, it definitely needs to be cleaned, because they suck in a tremendous amount of dust, and it gets in the blower wheels, and you'd be surprised how much dust this thing will suck in over, because the windows are closed during the winter and what have you. We really recommend the customer clients stop out here with their dimensions, height, width, and depth, as well as some digital pictures is always cool. And if they can just take their iPhone or their camera or whatever and just take an upward snapshot of the damper, with all that information, we can really drill down to what will fit your application.
Well, thank you for sharing our experience with being in Bowie for 50 years and with Belair Engineering and Service Company, Inc. We're down here at 15881 Commerce Court in Upper Marlboro, which we're really Bowie because we're just over the Bowie line. We're Central Avenue, or right past Central Avenue.
Right by the Bowie, or Prince George's County Police Station on 301.
It's our 20th year. This year will be our 20th year being married. It's our 50th anniversary with Bowie, with Belair Engineering and Service Company. And we'd like to hear about your stories, so if you want to email us, you can email to info@belaireng.com or belairengineering.com, either one, right?
Or share your story at belairengineering.com.
There you go. And you can, or write us. I have a lot of customers who write us old stories. Colonel Hiroko, I hear from him quite a bit. He reminds me of a lot of stuff. Mr. Kleiss, he reminds me of a lot of stuff. But if you have something funny you want to share, please share it with us. It's fun. We have a good time. Come to the shop, but make sure somebody's here. Make sure that we're not crazy busy and we can sit down with you for 5 minutes. Make sure that we're open. And that is another good point, that we're open pretty much every day of the year except for 6 of those are your major holidays. And besides those, we have 24/7 service. So, just because the office is closed doesn't mean that the guys aren't running. They run. Even Christmas they run. Christmas, Thanksgiving, all the holidays. But thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing this on the Bowie Business Channel. We thank you for tuning in.
We thank Bowie TV for filming it and all, and stopping out.
Yes. She doesn't do that for everybody.
No?
You should feel special.